hard to explain this and not sound like a mad person. I call this frost against Admiralty Law, lost at sea, subject to maritime Admiralty Law, your vessel declared on dry land, or if not properly stated the facts in the proper sentence structure in your argument, in your claim in court, there is no objective fact. You're subject lost at sea. I've been able to prove this with my own documents against General Motors for my Buick exploding, taking my children, taking my skin. It's been 5 years in July 4th. On July 4th, who owns the Title IV flag in the United States? Chief of Supreme Court Russell J. Gold, which on the day that I was been protesting like a mad lady before I moved up to the apartment staring at General Motors building, that I manifested, and the angels are real, and I got this apartment and put into fruition to come tell my story, that they've been able to throw our cases out for the wrongful death of our children, for car seats that should have never been on the road, that were never approved, and that would lock our children in, that they said I should have asked around for a knife while we were all on fire. Buicks exploding, millions of vehicles that explode, or what have you, from malfunctions that endanger families and children all the time. Reports of this car seat locking children in hundreds of thousands of complaints. And nobody knows because nobody can hear these voices, so here I am speaking my story. I've been able to take lessons they call syntax lessons for theclaimofthelife.com to change my birth certificate status from being a negative condition of state, subject to this Admiralty Maritime Law, to a condition that's on land with the correct flag. And I have in this video why that's important to have the correct flag when you go into these ports and courts, which really is just a fiction anyway. So I have to be strong enough to take my next step, despite them getting away with murder and making profit and having the biggest building in the most populous city in the United States. And my home. So I've moved home in the backyard of my enemies. So I'm coming home and taking over. So I have this signed with the Postmaster Generals in Canada. This is my vessel on dry land. They threw my children out in our court cases and said that EvenFlo is only liable for my burdens, but they'll throw that out too because all the courts are closed, just like they did in General Motors. The sentence structure is in accordance with the Global Postal Treaty, with just recently Russell J. Gold, after I was protesting in Detroit, explained that your birth certificate is a negative condition of state. Recently put on his YouTube that he has also explained maritime admiralty law since 2004. The courts are closed. You will go to 3 appellate judges and be dismissed, just as we have. And there is no subject matter jurisdiction, which all makes sense in the subjective and objective. It makes sense when you study. That's why I study the things that I do. You'll find on my channel. The non-tangible and the tangible, the quantum world of the word, and how that manifests accordingly, and why we have to take our jurisdiction and command over these words by even a hyphen and these type of things that control the nouns and control with adjectives instead of these adjective pronouns, which are non-facts, etc., but to control them as adverbs, action, taking action, excuse me. So it's worth taking lessons and investigating to compare to your own court documents why you're being thrown out in court, and how to state your claim as a matter of fact as a sovereign on dry land to proceed with the next stage of your life. So as I said, here there are plenty of rules when you start to take lessons on the sentence structure in accordance with the Global Postal Treaty. These are, for example, only to be taken in present tense. You cannot have a future or past tense in your claims as far as your sentence structure. You cannot have any boxes. That is to be omitted. And just like when you go into court and judges with their black cloaks come into a box and jury comes into a box, and that's all for the condition of mind, not for objective facts that are supposed to be on paper. So, like I said, this is all fiction anyway, wrote on its face. They've been able to manipulate these procedures, and I was told they need to come down. They've asked me now, after saying we're taking this serious, hundreds of dispositions and depositions, and depositions to deposition someone. And when they deposition you in these nasty, you will know their names. I have a list of names. You will know them all. And I hope to see the last of their bloodline to come after me, as if, oh, why do you have disability? Not because I don't, I have staples left in my heels, and the nastiness of me hardly making $800 a month with my hardly a little bit of help that is not from General Motors, EvenFlo, or AmSafe. So, getting back on my feet, manifesting, telling my story. Just the beginning, okay. Example, adjective, coloring syntax of the facts, allusion, fiction, void, omit. Like I said, these are things as a sovereign you study and you investigate and you invest in yourself to know the facts and to be a fact. And I'm the only fact there is. So after saying they want all the engineers to go first and all the facts to be out, now that's torn out and I'm supposed to be on the stand first. That's for condition of mind. There is no fact. There is no subject matter jurisdiction. I found out the truth. The truth will set you free. And if evil exists, then my angels exist and good exists, and I'm going to be proof of it by the life I put into fruition and put on this channel. And it's not to be a gym girl or to be some astrologer, future teller, false prophet. I study the symbolisms of the Bible shown in the stars, the subjective, the objective, physical manifestation and the result. And we test these theories and the philosophies and take on our adversaries and our adversities and take on the challenge. So for all of you out there, I hope you're a constructive interferer, you're what do they call that? Not an influencer. I don't want to influence anyone to buy things or, this is, what do we call it? An inspirer, encourager, but we got work to do. We got a lot of 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 work to do. And when I compare this to my General Motors and my EvenFlo documents, which I will collect them all and I will report them, and I know who to go to now, and they are all very much aware of what facts are not in these documents. They've seen my General Motors documents. They're well aware of my fight with EvenFlo and AmSafe as far as the people who know how to state a claim and to punish the people, such as the people who get away with the wrongful death of your children. So you can compare your notes to your court documents like mine at General Motors, the spacing, the boxes, all depositions are in boxes to deposition someone. Like I said, they tried to deposition you, just nasty. just pure evil. I've witnessed nothing but pure evil. The vocabulary that they use, it's an absolute harvest. It's a market. If you open your dictionary, it's a store market. Your words matter, and taking control of those words, and there's a few of us that know that. There's a few of us that know the difference and that know that matters. And I'm no ditz when it comes to this stuff, and at work I get a lot of looks and for my studies and taking my books to work and studying, and but I'm here to tell my story. So apparently they set up a nice little office here for me to do it. Even though I was a brat about it in the beginning, you start to become a lot more vocal, and the murders of your children are out there on the loose. So I appreciate all of you who listen and share my story and just subscribe, because it would just be totally cool, because I'm gonna like update and keep going, because I don't have anything to lose anymore, and this is what the world's pushed me to do. So if you look on my channel and see my story, the rapture begins in Detroit. Also, that I pursue my philosophies from my Cherokee teacher at Western Carolina University, who spoke about walking in the beauty way. And he was working on a documentary that exploded in our vehicle, where he explains, and we studied Judicula Rock, where a giant came down and explains these understandings that the straight and narrow way that the Christ talked about is the same line the medicine men talk about, why mad medicine woman. And that whenever we come off that line and we fear, stress, doubt, that leads to sickness. And so when we have faith, there's peace there. There's, where there's health, there's peace. Things are meant to be healthy, they're meant to be well. And to understand all these lines in these 360-degree circle, and that we may not be able to stay on that line, but it's important that we find our way back where it's healthy and peaceful and true and growing and prosperous. And we go through our cycles, the involution and the evolution, the subjective and objective, and this is all true. In one way or another, I'm gonna see my kids again. I'm gonna do my work. I'm gonna follow through. I'm gonna document what I find. I'm gonna keep going to the gym and be a testimony, and just like everyone else, not to be a gym girl, but to show everyone what I'm doing to motivate myself, and speaking positively every morning, and being that little girl that I grew up in communication broadcasting, raising my children with a little microphone, that I was going to give people hope one day, and now's the time to do it. So peace, love, chohi ideha, chohi destin, and here we go. Let's go for it. Let's do this.